It's just so important. You have people who are working in offices all day long, and they need something to really enrich and bring joy into their lives. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Nash, and I'm an associate professor in the Department of Theatre Arts and Dance in voice, singing, and speech. Originally, my undergraduate degree was at Columbia University in New York. Then I studied for 1 year at the New England Conservatory of Music with Boris Goldovsky in the Opera Workshop. I received, after that, a 2-year Fulbright to study opera in Germany, and that led to my opera career in Germany. I went out and got my doctorate in theater history, theory, and literature. My research work has nothing to do whatsoever with what I teach. It's entirely separate. Yeah, I'm a biographer. And the first book I wrote was Always First Class, The Career of Geraldine Farrar. Miss Farrar was probably the most distinguished woman, opera diva this country has ever produced. And no one had ever written a book on her. So I decided, well, that was going to be my topic. In one of my classes, it was the time of the death of Marian Anderson, and I asked that class, I said, tell me, you ever heard of Marian Anderson? There wasn't one soul in that class who'd ever heard of her. And I had a wonderful colleague over in Wilson Library, Professor Patricia Turner. I said, would you mind coming into the class? Could you play some recordings of Miss Anderson, and would you talk about her? Oh, Pat said, I'd love to. So she came, but she brought not only recordings of Marian Anderson, she brought recordings of many of the other very distinguished African-American classical singers, especially of the earlier period. And I was fascinated. I'd never heard any of them. It was quite amazing because I then started analyzing what they were doing vocally that was so phenomenal. And after the class, I said to Patricia, you know, you should be teaching a seminar on the great African-American classical singers. And Pat and I decided that's what we were going to do. There's a strong demand for musical theater, and I think lots of actors realize that it's awfully hard breaking in to equity in the professional theaters. And lots of times while they're looking for jobs or between jobs, if you can sing, and if you're strong as an actor, the combination, you will always be able to pay the rent with your ability as a musical theater performer. It makes the person very, very versatile. I'm very passionate about theater. I think it's a magnificent art form. I've seen what theater can do for people. It inspires people. It makes them happy. It's joyous for audiences. It's a wonderful instructional tool. It's wonderful in therapy, be it music or be it theater. So it has many, many benefits. And it has such a magnificent tradition going back to the 5th century in Greece. We have a very great heritage. And I think it's so exciting to realize there's that great tradition. And then it's our job to serve as models for the next generation.